Welcome, and thank you for your interest in learning more about the impact of suicide loss. Suicide loss survivors is the term used to describe people who have been impacted by a suicide loss. Research indicates that for each suicide in the United States, 135 people are exposed to the death. This may include family, friends, co-workers, classmates, and professional caregivers. Postvention services are an important part of a community. Postvention is the word used to describe support provided to suicide loss survivors, such as family, friends, professionals, and peers. Postvention services may consist of a first responder loss team, support groups, follow-up care such as sending remembrance cards on important dates, as well as one-on-one peer support. Postvention is important because those directly impacted by a suicide loss are in need of support and are at an increased risk of suicide themselves. There is sometimes stigma associated with suicide. This may negatively impact the survivor's willingness to acknowledge the loss and to ask for help. Connecting those bereaved by suicide to helpful resources as soon as possible promotes healing. With this in mind, postvention can be considered an important form of prevention. LOSS stands for Local Outreach to Suicide Survivors. A LOSS team is an active model of postvention that involves 2 or more trained volunteers who go to the scene of a suicide to provide immediate support to those left behind. Having a LOSS team at the scene of a suicide provides loss survivors with practical support, a connection to resources, and most importantly, an installation of hope. Having an individual who has lost a loved one to suicide introduce himself or herself to the new loss survivor and provide care and support helps to plant seeds of hope. By simply saying, "I lost a loved one to suicide," a volunteer gives permission for the newly bereaved to use the word suicide and lets them know that they are not alone. People who have been impacted by a suicide loss share a common bond. A survivor support group brings the bereaved together where they can share and connect with one another. Survivor support groups are important because they help to provide support and hope to those in need. It is important for loss teams to proactively have a plan in place as to how they are going to address the media. Having media guidelines established ahead of time provides the team with the necessary steps so they are prepared to most effectively address messaging regarding suicide. In this manner, accurate reporting and available resources for help can be shared. Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services has developed this website to help you in your efforts of launching a loss team, a suicide survivor support group, and media guidelines in your community. It is our hope that the following information will be beneficial to you in providing loss survivors with hope and support and helping you to prevent future suicides. Thank you so much for joining us and helping to address suicide postvention. Together, we can all positively impact mental health in the state of Ohio.